The Chicago Bulls got a much-needed victory over the Cleveland Cavaliers yesterday, and they may have a solution to fix their struggles. We gonna talk about it on today's episode. Plus, we got two callers who called in and gave us their thoughts and gave us their take. So we're gonna dive into all that, talk about it, break it all down. But you gotta hear the music first.
Cognac, gang.
Shy Bulls podcast with the Cognac Boys. I'm Cognac Boy Bobby, and I'm holding it down on today's daily episode. So if you're tuned in, locked in, and ready to talk Bulls basketball, make sure you go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe. And to all you all out there, happy holidays from Shy Bulls podcast. Me and C-Dub, we are really appreciative of what you all have been doing and how y'all been showing out for the podcast. So, hey, let's jump right into it. The Chicago Bulls pulled off a 127-111 victory over the Cleveland Cavaliers. And I will say it was much needed. And to be honest, it was impressive to see the Chicago Bulls come out there and compete, to see the Chicago Bulls finally give us something to cheer for one day. We get to say, hey, thank you. About damn time that we was able to throw on our shades and sing like a choir and sing Caroline, and C-Dub was able to go out there and give a A++++. Dubs for C-Dub after the victory, and a big shout out to my man Sal's from the Horns Over Hoops podcast, who came on and gave his thoughts during the post game. But for the Chicago Bulls yesterday, there was a lot to take away from this game. First thing was Josh Giddey, another triple-double on the season. This is now his sixth triple-double of the season, giving us 23, 11, and 11. Coby White had a solid night, giving us 25, 5, and 3. And Isaac Okoro was a huge part of this win as well. I liked his activity defensively. I liked the 12 points that he gave the Chicago Bulls. And then Trey Jones, man, off the bench, playing 24 minutes, giving us 11 points and 11 assists. So shout out to all those that came in, stood out, and actually contributed to this win. Two of the most glaring things was the first one, no Dalen Terry, no Julian Phillips on the night. Another thing, Billy Donovan went with some double big lineups. In fact, that may be the solution for the Chicago Bulls moving forward. Now, we know Billy Donovan, once you start giving them pats on the back and saying good coaching job and good job for what you were doing, he reverts back to doing some things that make us scratch our head or call him certain names other than a child of God. But nonetheless, we may have a solution to help the Chicago Bulls moving forward, and that is the double big lineup. At one point, we seen the double big lineup to start the game go on a 10-0 run for the Chicago Bulls, and you seen all the bigs, Nikola Vucevic, Zach Collins, Jalen Smith, contribute in major ways. Nikola Vucevic played 29 minutes. Gave us 20 points and 9 rebounds. Zach Collins played 16 minutes, gave us 10 points and 4 rebounds. And Jalen Smith played 16 minutes, giving us 4 points and 7 rebounds, and really contributed in a major way. I know it's just one game to where we got a heavy dose of this double big lineup. Billy Donovan has been flirting with it for the last few games, and it seems like it may be a solution that we can lean into as we move forward. We already talked about the rematch coming up tomorrow versus the Cavs, and then 2 games versus the Atlanta Hawks. So it's something that they may be able to work with to put on better performances. Nobody here in Chicago is going to be delusional and act as if this Chicago Bulls team is a championship contender. But one thing us Chicago Bulls fans are going to keep it real with is that we want to see effort. We want to go out there and win basketball games. We know we're not going to win it all, but there is no reason we should be playing down to our competition when we know that we can be much better, like examples of last night. Just one example, not the end all be all, but Billy Donovan trolled out a lineup of Zach Collins, Kevin Huerter, Jalen Smith, Trey Jones, and Matas Buzelis, a big lineup. They only played a couple minutes together, 4 to be exact. And in that time, they had 12 points. They shot 62% from the field and 66% from the three. I know it's just a small sample size, so I'm not going to overreact to it. But when Jalen Smith comes in for an entire game and only plays 16 minutes and give you 4.7 rebounds and have 2 offensive rebounds, and then you look in the plus minus chart, he's a plus 11. You look at those type of things. When you look at Zach Collins come in playing his 16 minutes and giving you 10 points, 4 rebounds, and was a plus 4 in his minutes, you take those things into account. And one thing that I liked about the double big lineup, whether Billy Donovan was putting Zach Collins and Jalen Smith on the floor at the same time, or he was missing and matching one of those other guys with Nikola Vucevic or others, they brought toughness. They brought some toughness. You seen Zach Collins go out there and point to Darius Garland while he was on the floor saying, "You flopping, my boy, you flopping." I like that. Talk that talk. And then both our bigs and Zach Collins and Jalen Smith was battling with Thomas Bryant all night, and they was jawing, going back and forth. Other things that I like. As a team, the Chicago Bulls yesterday had 3 blocks and a total of 12 steals, y'all. A total of 12 steals. And they dominated the paint with 68 points. They limited the Cavs to second chance points. And then they only accumulated 8 points in second chance points. And when you look at how these guys were able to maneuver and go out there and do a number of things, we got to take into account how they were able to share the ball. These guys, they were moving. Guys were cutting. Josh Giddey was making some really good passes. Trey Jones was doing his thing. Again, 11 assists from Josh Giddey, 11 assists from Trey Jones. That's 22 assists from those 2 guys alone. And I think that the double big lineup had a lot to do with it. As a team, the Chicago Bulls, they accumulated a total of 35 assists. And we talked about the 22 that came from Josh Giddey and Trey Jones, but 7 assists came from our bigs as a whole. 7 assists from our bigs. So that means that the Chicago Bulls were able to utilize those bigs and utilize their size and utilize some of that cutting to get some easy shots. And then our bigs, when they had to make a play, those guys were able to go out there and make some plays. So I got to say that it may not be the end all be all. The Bulls may have to adjust depending on how certain games go. But it looks like you can lean into this double big lineup. Now, what does it mean for guys like Julian Phillips and Dalen Terry? Look, man, it is what it is. This is the life of the league. If you can't contribute on a said night, you don't need to be out there. Me and C-Dub, we talked about it plenty of times of coming into this situation and saying that into the season, Dalen Terry and Julian Phillips has to separate themselves amongst each other or apart from one another. And right now, they seem like they still stuck together with glue. Like, I like the activity on most nights, but I think that as of right now, where we currently stand, Zach Collins and Jalen Smith deserves time on the basketball court. It's not like these guys are just stuck to being paint players. These guys can actually stretch the floor and shoot the 3 as well. So I think that the Chicago Bulls need to utilize this in such a way to help the Chicago Bulls become a better basketball team, or at least compete at a different level. Now, I know that may be Bobby. I know there might be somebody out there that say, "Hey, Bobby, we still need the trade such and such." I'm not saying that we should not, but I'm saying that right now, a solution that can help the Chicago Bulls be better offensively and potentially better defensively has to include some lineups to where you go with these double bigs. I think that Jalen Smith can defend pretty well. I believe that Zach Collins can defend the paint pretty well. You're not going to cut Nikola Vucevic minutes, so why not, if you're going to need some extra guys to come in and give guys a breather, why not lean on the other 2 bigs that you have? Both of these guys, as it currently stands, they are healthy. Both of these guys, as it currently stands, are producing. Both of these guys have a presence on the basketball court that can be felt and help this team because Josh Giddey wants to get downhill, and that's his best attribute right now. And what better way to have him get downhill with an outlet to one of these bigs in Zach Collins or Jalen Smith or sometimes even Nikola Vucevic. I think you got to play all three guys. We'll see what Billy Donovan go with this. Hopefully he doesn't revert back to, some of the bonehead lineups that he tried to place out there, but I think that they may have a solution to be better, and that is leaning on this double big lineup for support when guys need a breather. That's just how I'm looking at it, guys. Let me know how y'all feel about it. I think that it's a solution that the Chicago Bulls can really lean into. Maybe not for every game with going with all three, but I think that most of the time, if not all the time, you should be experimenting with these lineups because Jalen Smith, he can defend pretty well. Maybe not the greatest, but I think he can defend pretty well and help you garner some extra opportunities on a said possession. Zach Collins is going to bring some toughness inside the paint and be able to stretch the floor. Nikola Vucevic, he actually tried last night, so we got to give him credit for that. And it's not the end all be all. It's not to say that we shouldn't be trying to make moves, but it is a way to figure out how the Chicago Bulls can put a better product on a basketball court. And once again, I think that includes or should include the double big lineup. Let me know your thoughts and everything down below. Now, before we get up out of here, we have 2 voicemails on the day. The first one, we're going to jump right into it. This first one is from my guy from Shy Bulls Block. Big O. Here it is.
Good word, Bobby. It's your boy Big O again, man. Shy Bulls Block. But yeah, I hate I had to call back again, man. I'm just venting at this point, man. So don't kill me for this, but yeah, man, UNC Dub right, man. Like, yeah, Jerry just putting people in place and they doing whatever. Right now, I won't be surprised if Mark and fucking AK somewhere overseas, somewhere drinking motherfucking pina coladas and fucking mimosas and shit. They don't give a shit about this team, bro. You know what I mean? They don't give a shit about it, man. They don't really care, man. And for me it's like this, right? Like, would it be a conflict of interest for Ben Johnson to coach the Bulls? Because just that man energy alone would just change the locker room. You know what I mean? Like, we can talk about all the trades. We can talk about, I know I'm just rambling, but we can talk about all the trades, man. We could talk about all the players we need to get, what we should get or could get. None of that matters if the coach ain't in place to set the culture. You know what I mean? Before we even get the players, they even have the management, the guys above the coach, they know how to go out and get these players, know how to identify these players. The amount of talent, really good talent that AK and Mark has passed on for their own little projects is insane. It's like outside of Matas and Io, their track record is nasty. And to be honest with you, I believe they probably excited because they lucked up on Giddey. I don't even think they expected Giddey to be this good when they traded for him. I promise you. You know what I mean? I believe Giddey fell in their lap. And it's like, when you got a guy like that, you got one of the pieces to your puzzle. You know what I mean? You got a guy that can get you a triple-double on most nights. How hard is it to get some defenders around him? Defenders, shooters, lob threats. What is so hard about that? You know what I mean? I'm not saying it's going to guarantee you a championship, but if you got the right culture, it can at least start putting that arrow in the right direction. You know what I mean? It's like, I ain't gonna lie to you. I gave up. I gave up on him. I don't have no faith in this front office. I remember last year I was calling in, chopping up with you guys. I was somewhat patient, but right now I'm done with AK. I'm done with Billy, and the ownership don't give a shit. So it's like you don't even get the highest up you can go to to make the necessary changes needed, he don't give a shit.
All right, so we heard from my man's Big O. Now, when it comes to Ben Johnson potentially coming to coach the Chicago Bulls, look, I love Ben Johnson for the Chicago Bears. But as the great Emmanuel once said, I'm going to tell Ben Johnson, stay in your lane. Just stay in your lane. We good. We got to find a basketball coach that understands what it requires to go be good for a basketball team. Ben Johnson, his hands are full. He doing something great right now. We need him to sustain what he's doing for the Bears. We need to find our own quote unquote Ben Johnson for as a basketball version. Now, when you talk about the front office, I'm right there with you. I don't have like, if we ranking it 1 through 10 for trust, it's probably like 0.5. Not even gonna lie to you. And the 0.5 is coming from the off season with them not, you know what I'm saying, doing too much to where it kind of hurt the Chicago Bulls more per se. But do you get points for that? Not necessarily. But then I also think about the negotiation tactics with Josh Giddey, saving them $5 million per year on a 4-year deal for a total of $20 million. That's good negotiation for me. So I can't be mad at that. So that's why they get the 0.5. But then when you talk about all the other things that has transpired up until this point, that's where I'd be like, yeah, you have a major, major point. And it does appear that they don't care. And I will encourage people, including them, don't fall in love with the honeymoon phase that was the first 7 games. We just seen this Chicago Bulls team go through their last 7 games, losing to teams like the New Orleans Pelicans twice, losing to the Indiana Pacers, and not being competitive whatsoever. It was a headache, bro. And it was a headache, and we were lost. Guys were trying to talk about Love Island and all this other stuff, and I was just like, man, throw this shit out of my face. And I would encourage them, don't fall in love if the Chicago Bulls start winning more basketball games right now, because the competition level is going up, you know what I'm saying, in the near future. So don't fall in love with it. Nikola Vucevic still has to go. You still have to make decisions regarding Coby White and Ayo Dosunmu. You still have to make decisions regarding these expiring contracts. Don't sit on your hands and act as if this team can go on some type of run and just, you know, patch up everything. We still need future assets to build for the future, and that's what I'm going to lean into and not fall in love with another honeymoon phase. That's like me allowing my wife to cheat on me and then taking her back, and then she cheat on me again. Nah, fooled me once, shame on you. Fooled me twice, shame on me. God damn it. But hey, I appreciate the call, Big O. Appreciate the call, brother. All right, y'all, we're going to get into this last one for the day. This last one is from Ricky.
What up, brother? It just comes down. I've been watching y'all podcast, okay, about the Bulls. And I've been hearing questions in Hayes too, why the Bulls are losing these games. There's 5:30 left in the fourth quarter. They go on the run, Billy goes substitute. They on the run. The guys are really playing together. And he gonna mess up their chemistry. That's why they be losing games. Because they get on the run or a guy get hot, he goes sub. It's like he coaching for the other team sometimes. He stood up for the referees a little bit tonight. It makes guys play hard for you when they know your coach got your back, okay? So just wanted to say that. Maybe I can hear you guys talk about this in your next podcast. Peace.
Appreciate the call, Ricky. I agree with you. I think that's been one of Billy Donovan's biggest flaws. That's always icing his players. This goes back to when Zach LaVine was here. Zach LaVine to be 3 for 3. Billy Donovan's like, oh, it's time for rotations, and pull them. Bro, these are young basketball players. These guys are not 35. The only 35-year-old is Nikola Vucevic. And still, I even say ride the wave with him. If Nikola Vucevic is cooking and, you know what I'm saying, the floater is going down, the three-point shot is going down, and he's accumulating a number of points in sequence back to back, let him continue to cook. until you absolutely have to pull them, which is when the wave is over. Allow these young players to cook. If Coby White is going off, let him go off. Force the other team to call timeout. Force the other team to call timeout. That's been my biggest pet peeve with him, alongside with player development, to be honest with you. But this is the coach that we have. I don't necessarily think he's going anywhere. Only thing we can do is hope that one day he wakes up, hit his head the right way, not to where he injure himself, but to where he gets some common sense knocked into his head, and he understand that, bro, I need to stop icing my players. But we'll see what happens with that, though. But I appreciate the call, Ricky, for sure. But hey, that is it from us today, y'all. Shout out to the two fellas that called in, and Big O and Ricky. Everybody else, man, make sure you go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. If you are a Chicago Bears fan and you want to come kick it, have some fun, I'm collabing with Brandon Tracks of Chicago Sports Podcast to host a live watch party this Saturday when the Chicago Bears take on the Green Bay Packers. It will be at the Wind Creek Casino and Hotel in East Hazel Crest on Halsted Street. It is a free event. We will be doing live play-by-play, have a live DJ, and we'll all be trying to see if the Chicago Bears can absolutely go out there and take this division over on Saturday night. Everything kicks off around 7. Show up early, head straight to the sports bar, and get ready to turn up for the Chicago Bears. In the meantime, in between time, our Chicago Bulls, they got a victory. They may have a solution. Let me know your thoughts and comments down below. And man, let's do it what we got to do. If you want to be a part of a mailbag episode here on Shy Bulls Podcast, I have the number in the description. And you can also call the number 773-242-9219. We appreciate y'all. Try to see red, and y'all already know I'm going to catch y'all on the next one for sure. Peace.
Cognac. Gang.